It's 1 a.m. on November 1st, 1943, and the USS Borie prowls the North Atlantic, hunting a U-boat amid a violent storm. Contact 8,000 yards, bearing 170. A blip appears on the ship's radar. In command is 30-year-old Lieutenant Charles Harris Hutchins. He swiftly gives the order to pursue at full speed. Turn 170. Flank speed. The USS Borie slices through 15-foot waves at full power. Nearby, about 5 nautical miles away, lies U-405, a Type 7C U-boat, commanded by Korvettenkapitän Rolf Heinrich Hauptmann. The submarine is surfaced, recharging its batteries under the cover of darkness when deep inside the vessel, the hydrophone operator detects something. It's the unmistakable, telltale sound of propellers cutting through the water. High-speed ship, bearing 90. Hydrophone operator reports high-speed ship bearing 90. Hauptmann realizes there are no friendly vessels in the area. This has to be an American. This has to be an American. Prepare to dive. All crew to battle stations. Alarms ricochet through the U-boat, and the 45-man crew urgently prepare to dive below the surface. Back on the USS Borie, Hutchins searches in the darkness for any sign of his enemy. He can't see a thing, but the radar operator continues providing updates. Hutchins orders course corrections in response, steady as she goes. 2000. Bearing 265 from until the U-boat vanishes from their radar screens. Contact has been lost. Sir, the news sends chills down Hutchins' spine. The U-boat has submerged. And that can only mean one thing. The Germans know they're here, and now the two are in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Half speed. Any returns on sonar? With the submarine submerged, sonar tracking the echoes from a U-boat is their only chance. There's a contact. Sonar contact 2,000 yards, bearing 170. Turn 170. Hutchins orders a course to intercept. On board the U-boat, the submariner on the hydrophone listens intently, but he can only hear Borie's general direction. The data isn't precise enough for a counterattack. What he can hear is ever louder propellers and the regular sonar pulse emanating from Borie. They're very close, Captain. Turn to port. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Borie, the sonar operators track the U-boat drifting into range. 600 yards. Prepare port launchers for depth charges. The crew move quickly, left side depth charge racks clattering as they ready the release. Then, the sonar trace shifts abruptly. Contact has been lost. Sir, the U-boat has slipped directly beneath their keel. 500 yards. Now bearing starboard, drawing fast. Full to starboard. Hutchins orders a hard turn to pursue the target, swinging the rear of the ship towards the submarine to bring the depth charges to bear. 300 yards. Depth charges fire! The charges launch off with loud thunks, flying through the air and splashing into the sea right by the U-405's nose. The U-boat is rocked by the blasts. The shockwave punches the submarine's bow. Flooding in the bow, sir. Flooding is impossible to stem when a submarine is fully submerged, as the water pressure is too great. So Hauptmann is left without any choice. Surface. And man the guns! USS Borie sails past, and her sailors look back at the scene of the explosion. The water is still settling from the explosions when they see the mighty U-boat surge from beneath the sea. It's surfaced right off our stern. Switch on the searchlight. Aim the lights where needed. The lights snap on, and U-405 comes into full view. The battle erupts. Dozens of German sailors pour out of the hatches, racing to man their 20mm guns and open fire. The weapons roar with deafening bangs, sending shells streaking across the stormy waves. The shells slam into the USS Borie's hull and litter the superstructure, sending American sailors diving for cover. On U-405, German sailors brave the heavy wind and waves. The Borie's spotlight shines directly on their faces as they fire away with 20mm guns, but they know it's not enough. The German sailors scramble to ready their much more powerful 80mm deck gun. Hutchins knows the danger and acts swiftly. All guns. Local control, point of fire. The guns open fire. The first salvos fly over the Germans' heads and splash into the water behind. But it doesn't take long for Borie's 20mm cannons to find their mark. Shells crash through the U-405's forecastle, devastating the German gunners, including those manning the vital 80mm. Heavy losses reported. Reinforce the deck guns! Keep firing! There's a stream of determined men, but they don't last. They fall in droves, sliding into the deep amid the fray. Brave men reach the 80mm and try to aim, but when they look down the sights, They find themselves staring directly at a wall of 4-inch main guns aimed towards them. They're too late. The shells slam directly into the forecastle in a brutal strike. When the smoke clears, U-405's 88mm gun and its valiant crew are gone. Borie continues its wide about turn while pummeling the enemy without relent, but it's not enough. Hutchins knows conning tower hits will never sink it. He needs to deal a fatal blow. Ram it! Ram it! The helmsman steers the ship towards the target as Hutchins warns the crew, stand by for a ram. Stand by for a ram. All hands brace as the ship barrels down towards the sub at 27 knots. USS Borie crashes directly into the side of U-405, which buckles her bow. Deep inside Borie, Chief Engineer Kenneth Miles Lucas sees torrents of water gushing from the fissures. Get me the repair team. Over in U-405, Hopman stumbles to his feet and orders, attack! German sailors charge out of the hatches, and a massive firefight breaks out on both decks. Borie's sailors have Tommy guns, pistols, and rifles, but the rest fight with whatever they can find. Flare pistols, shell casings, entire misfired shells, and even kitchen knives are fair tools in this chaos. The Germans fight back as best they can, but the Americans have cover and the advantage of elevation. The U-boat's deck grants no cover, and its last defenders don't stand a chance. The U-405, incredibly, is still afloat and functional, but the crew is devastated and they've lost all their weapons except the torpedoes. Full back. Hard to port. U-405 pulls with all its power in an attempt to slip from Borie's grasp. The Americans watch as the U-405 starts to move underneath them, but not everything is going the Americans' way. Borie's hull repairs deep in the engine compartment. Engineers attempt speedy repairs as the water quickly rises. Lucas and his men continue to work the turbines, battling through the water. The ship moves forward, now laden with hundreds of tons of water filling up its hull. Borie's gunners keep firing, but a decisive hit still eludes them. Prepare the torpedoes! One of USS Borie's triple torpedo mounts comes to life, locking its payload onto the target. Fire! A torpedo streaks through the churning sea, cutting a path toward the enemy, but it misses. Hopman finds himself in a desperate and perilous situation. The ship's managing, but only 15 of its 45-man crew remain. Heinrich orders a Hail Mary. Turn around. Prepare torpedoes! On the USS Borie, the men see the U-405 turning around to attack. Hutchins, though, has a plan. Disable the searchlight. The light that had been so crucial to land accurate gunfire goes dark. The men aboard the U-405 see the light go out. Hopman is surprised. This is their chance to escape. Abort torpedo attack. Turn to starboard. But USS Borie's radar never lost sight of the submarine, and Hutchins' plan has worked. Enable the searchlight. The lights come back on, revealing U-405 immediately in front. Ram it. Without hesitation, the helmsman turns towards the submarine. Aiming for a direct hit, U-405 tries to avoid ramming. Hopman sees it coming and orders evasive maneuvers. U-405 makes a nimble turn to sneak past USS Borie's starboard side, but Hutchins won't let it go that easily. Hard to starboard. The entire ship shudders as it pushes through the turn, the stern swinging toward the enemy and bringing the depth charges within striking range. Fire the depth charges. The canisters launch from the racks, plunging into the sea around the U-boat with perfect precision. The explosions rock U-405, sending it into a chaotic tumble, its hull now fatally breached. Silence falls over the water, broken only when the Germans release flares from their crippled vessel. The German U-boat crew signals surrender. Moments later, 15 survivors, including their captain, climb out and board life rafts. USS Borie edges closer to the battered men, ready to offer whatever aid they can amid the rolling waves. Suddenly, a lookout shouts, "There's a flare in the distance," quickly followed by the unmistakable threat of an incoming torpedo. Flare astern. Torpedo in the water! They assume it's another German submarine. Hutchins immediately orders Borie to turn the stern toward the incoming torpedo to present a narrow profile, but this also drives the ship directly into the German life rafts. The Borie's crew is forced to abandon the German survivors who were awaiting rescue. That rescue would never come. The men of U-405 are lost to the Atlantic. USS Borie's crew abandons ship. The ship has won the engagement, but is mortally wounded. Flooding cannot be stopped. Lucas and his engineers fight the engines, diving to reach the valves, until eventually they evacuate through the roof hatch. The crew abandons ship. Tragically, the sea claims 27 of USS Borie's 122 men before rescue arrives. Both Lieutenant Commander Charles Harris Hutchins and Kenneth Miles Lucas survive the war. Hutchins is awarded the Navy Cross for his bravery. Those Japanese are up to something at Midway. What would their perspective look like? If you enjoyed this intense naval battle and want to see more incredible World War II stories, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video.